What you need is someone to break it down for you very simply so that you can get your becoming a millionaire journey on. What's going on, everyone? My name is Trey, and welcome back to Let's Talk Finances. And today we're going to be discussing exactly that. What index funds you should be investing in today, heading into 2022. So if it's you who's been worried about, man, I want to start investing, but I don't know exactly what to do, I've got you covered. Let's go ahead and get this rolling. Let me take a sip of this coffee before we start. All right, let's do this. So index fund investing is a simple yet very powerful approach to consistent investment growth. The key, however, are making the right choices. Because yes, even though investing in index funds may be simple, you can actually make some bad decisions that will set you back some years. So I'm here to help you not make the same mistakes that I made when I first started off. So with all of that out of the way, the dying question here becomes, hey, how do I choose the right index funds? Or better yet, what are the right index funds for me to be investing in right now? And that's what we are about to dive into. So before we continue, I understand that in certain events, you can watch all the videos and read all the books that you want, but you still need a little bit of guidance to help get you over that threshold. So what I'm doing is offering one-on-one coaching for all of you who just need a little bit more personable coaching. All right, so what you can do is go to my website. I'll put it down in the description below, and we'll schedule a consultation for you to get you on the right track. Now, when we say choosing the right index fund or even the best index fund, I understand that that's a subjective term because it's going to be predicated off of what I think or what you personally think. The criteria that I'm using to base it to even be able to say, hey, this is the best index fund falls into these categories: high liquidity, low tracking error, low fees, broad diversification, reliable provider, as well as a proven and strong track record. Index fund or ETF number one, and that's going to be Vanguard's S&P 500 Index Fund and Exchange Traded Fund. The ticker symbols are VFIAX as well as VOO. Now, this is actually Vanguard's most popular index fund to date. It comprises of 500 of the largest and most successful companies within the United States, and it makes up about 82% of the stock market. Now, it's currently averaging about 10% returns, and its expense ratio is 0.03%. Now, this particular index fund or any S&P 500 index fund should be one of the funds that you decide to choose from to make it your core holding. So what I mean by core holding is, hey, you have to build your foundation of the portfolio with a very good, reliable index fund. And this is exactly that. So if you aren't considering this particular fund as a core holding for your portfolio, you are wrong. So what is your very, very favorite fund to invest in? All right. What has brought you the most success? Please put it down in the comments below so we can share it with each other. Index fund number two, and that's going to be my personal favorite, which is Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund. Ticker symbol VTSAX and VTI for its exchange traded fund. Unlike the previously mentioned index fund that only invests in large cap stocks or companies, this one actually adds about 20% of small and mid cap companies. And if you know anything about investing or the history of it, you know that historically speaking, those small and mid cap companies do outperform those large cap companies. So this particular index fund invests in over 3,500 companies, and it mixes large, mid, and small caps as well to give you more broad diversification. Now, it's bringing in about a 12% returns, and its expense ratio is 0.03%. Guys, this one is my personal favorite, but that's not to knock any other fund on this list, but it is a good core holding fund that you should be considering to put into your portfolio. That would beg the question, should you be investing in both VFIAX as well as VTSAX? Depends on the individual. Personally, I would not do so, only under some very special circumstances, but in my humble opinion, it's not really necessary to invest in both. I just decide to stick with one particular fund. All right. So in this event, you can go with both, or you can go with one, whatever tickles your fancy. So fund number 3, and that's going to be Vanguard's Total International Index Fund and Exchange Traded Fund, VTIAX and VXUS. Now, if you're not investing in the international market, are you actually diversified? In certain instances, or depending upon the person that you speak with, they would say yes and some would say no. Personally, I do feel that you should have some international exposure at about or around 20%. So this particular fund is the international equivalent to the previously mentioned fund, VTXAX, to where it is a total market index fund. This particular index fund is the total international market. So you can capture the total international market stocks that are available. It's currently bringing in about 8% returns, and its expense ratio is 0.08%. The next fund, which I believe flies under the radar, Vanguard's Total World Stock Index Fund or Exchange Traded Fund. The ticker symbols are VTWAX or VTWO. This particular fund actually combines the two previously mentioned index funds, right? So you'll have all of the US investable stocks as well as all of the international investable stocks. The great thing about this fund is that it balances itself. You'll never have to rebalance it. It invests in international as well as US stocks. You literally don't have to do anything except put money into it. So for those individuals that want to be totally hands-off and don't want to have to continue going into that portfolio to check it, to rebalance it, this is the ideal index fund for you. The next index fund is actually going to be Vanguard's Russell 2000 Index Fund, and that is for that small cap exposure, VSMAX, as well as VTWO. Now, the intent of this particular fund is to give you exposure to 2,000 of the smallest yet emerging companies within the United States, because historically speaking, those small cap stocks do better than large cap stocks. The returns for this one is at about 9%, and its expense ratio is 0.08%. In this instance, if you decided to invest in, let's say, a total stock market index fund, you can actually tilt your portfolio towards those small cap funds by investing in this particular fund. All right, guys, so here's the last and final fund that you should be looking at heading into 2022, and that is Vanguard's Growth Stock Index Fund or Exchange Traded Fund. Ticker symbols are VIGAX and VUG. This fund invests in 275 of the largest and most successful companies within the United States. Now, it's currently bringing in 14% in returns, and its expense ratio is 0.04%. So for those of you who have enjoyed this video and found the content to be pleasurable, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, as it would greatly help this channel to grow. As always, I want to thank the men and women of this country who have served and who continue to serve. I appreciate you all. So until the next video, let's talk finances then.